Okay, let's answer some burning questions about cathedral building. Okay, this is a bit of a different one. I'm currently in the drawing room. This is in the roof of the cathedral, which is why I'm using my indoor voice. So bear with. Hopefully you can hear this. So the last couple of videos I posted got an unprecedented amount of comments and questions from lovely people. Thank you, I'm so grateful. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to comment and write nice things. It's very lovely and very unexpected. So I get a lot of very similar questions on a lot of things that I post across YouTube and the other apps. So rather than sit and, I'd love to reply to them all, but there's a lot, which is amazing. But rather than sit and reply to them all, I thought I would reply in the form of a video. So here we are, I've got notes. So professional. The question I get asked the most, more than anything else, is how do you become a cathedral stonemason? And honestly, it's quite a simple answer here in the UK. You can do an apprenticeship in stonemasonry. There are 3 colleges, I think, that still do it. Bath, York, London, Malton. Four colleges that do stonemasonry qualifications, NVQs. So if you want to train to be a stonemason, you can do an NVQ, and then you can get an apprenticeship, or you can either do the NVQ full-time at the college, or you can get an apprenticeship and your employer should put you through the NVQ via a college, which is the way that I did it almost a decade ago. Next question. Do we keep the things that we find in the wall? No. Don't do that. That is archaeology, and that is important. So if I find any interesting archaeology while I'm playing around in the cathedral, then we have a cathedral archaeologist, and we call him, and he comes and deals with it. So cathedral archaeologist gets to keep all the finds. Okay, third question. Why is cement bad? I did go through this. If you watch my video about fixing tracery panels, my longer video about that, then I do talk about why the cement is so bad. I'm going to make another video about this as well, but just in a nutshell, the cement traps the moisture in the stone. The moisture has nowhere to go, so it comes out through the stone and shatters the stone. It's very bad. Stop using it on stone. It's okay on modern bricks and modern modern construction with cavity walls. So if you've got a cavity wall, then that's fine. But if you're a solid stone construction or solid brick construction, then cement is bad. Okay, next question. Do I have a mason's mark? Yes, I do. I will also make a video all about mason's marks, I promise. But essentially, all of us here at Cathedral Masonry World have our own mason's mark. It goes back to the medieval times. Traditionally, stonemasons were paid per stone, so you had to mark your stones so that your boss knew how many you'd worked that day or that week, so they knew how much to pay you. Luckily, we don't get paid per stone anymore, but we do still have a mason's mark, and we use it as a sort of quality control. So every stone you work should be the best stone you've worked. It should be done to the best of your ability, no matter where it's going or what it's for. You should always work that stone to the best of your ability. So you should be proud enough of that work to be able to put your name on it, so that when the fixer comes to fix that stone on site, they know who did it. So if there's any mistakes, we know who to go for. That doesn't happen. We don't do that. I was always told it is the fixer's job to help the banker mason, and it's the banker mason's job to help the setter outer. We all help each other. There is always margin for human error, but we also work to millimetre tolerances, so everything does have to be right. Okay, next most asked question. Do we treat new stones with anything to match the old stones? No, we don't. We don't paint, so the conservation department does treat things with shelter coats and lime washes, but that is when something is original and it's quite friable and it needs protecting and conserving. They can put a protective layer on it to help save it, make it last a bit longer. In terms of putting in a brand new stone, we don't shelter coat them, we don't paint them with anything, and they will wear in. They do look quite stark and white and scary when they first go in, but a couple of days of rain and they soon match the rest. A couple of people have asked me what did the medieval masons use before we had stainless steel. So if you watched my series of shorts on pinnacle building, you'll notice we used some little stainless steel dowels when we were fixing some of those stones, and also in the tracery panels we used stainless steel dowels when we were mousing. the medieval masons used iron, weirdly, and maybe there's someone on here who is an expert in metal, but we find medieval iron in the cathedral joggled in, so coated in lead. So they would have put the iron in and poured molten lead in. And even when the lead has split and oxygen has been able to get in, the medieval iron doesn't seem to oxidise the way that modern iron or Victorian iron does. So Victorian ironwork oxidises, it can expand up to 7 or 8 times its original size, causing what we call rust jacking, which cracks. It can move whole walls. Tiny little iron pin can cause a huge crack to run through an entire wall. So yeah, the modern iron and the Victorian iron does seem to cause a lot of cracking and rust jacking, whereas the medieval iron doesn't. So I don't know why that is, whether they had different iron, better quality of iron, whether they were mixing it with anything. Maybe a metal expert will be able to tell me, but essentially the medieval masons used ironwork and molten lead. We use stainless steel, but we don't pour molten lead around the steel. If we're pouring molten lead around any metal work, we will use phosphor bronze. Phosphor bronze won't oxidise and also won't react with lead over time. A lot of people ask me what type of stone we use. So we use, currently we're using 2 types of stone. So the building I'm working on, Lincoln Cathedral, this, is built from Lincoln limestone quarried in the district. It does help when building a cathedral if you build it out of the stuff that it's already sat on, because you don't have to move it very far. So it's built out of Lincoln limestone. It's an oolitic limestone. We have actually got a cathedral geologist, Mike, who is very knowledgeable and loves showing us his fossils. He's a very lovely chap. And he helps with stone sourcing. And yeah, so we use Lincoln limestone where possible. However, we occasionally need big stones with big beds. So the strata has to go into the building the way it comes out of the ground. You can't put it on its edge. I'll also make a video about that. But essentially, if we need big, tall stones with big bed heights, then we have to get a French limestone from Lavaux, I don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, we use a French limestone, and it's the closest match to our Lincoln stone. Okay, last question. This always surprises me a little bit how many people ask me this, but I do get asked surprisingly regularly, is this my job or is this a hobby? I guess I'm really lucky that some people think this is my hobby, because I do seem to enjoy it quite a lot, but this is my real job. And I've been doing this for the best part of a decade now, so I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that makes me brand new, because the building I'm currently stood in is almost 900 years old. Yeah, it's my real job. I'm employed 5 days a week, and I love it. It's a great job. So if anyone wants to become a heritage craftsperson, not just a stonemason, but a joiner or a millwright or a thatcher or any of those heritage crafts that we need to preserve our built ancient heritage, then I very much recommend. It is incredibly rewarding. So that's it. Hopefully you could hear me, because I am using my church voice because I'm in the church. So if anyone has any other questions, just do the comment thing. Yeah, hopefully this has answered a few, and this has been quite helpful and informative. And if there's anything in particular that anyone wants me to make a video about in the future, then let me know and I'll do my best. All right, let's go home.